What's up, guys? Happy Monday! What's up, Nerd Report? Bernadette, Julissa, Brandon, D Nice, Tammy, Trixie, Springstorm. How's everyone doing? Congrats, Trixie, on your 5 kittens for being a cat grandma, as I call it. Laughing Stock, what's up? Kimberly, Martin, how's it going? Jen. How's it going? My area is full of skunks, so I totally know what you mean about skunks. Trixie saying I am a cat great grandma. Okay, a cat great grandma. Congrats. Super cool. I am doing good, Julissa. So how's everyone doing? And did not get a notification? Who got a notification? Press 1. YouTube's being pesky. Bernadette saying, what's up, Larry? Aileen. Khalid, what's up? That's okay, Trixie. I totally understand. Completely different time zone, but thank you for being here. D nice. They can have your D nice. Sorry, that's making me laugh. I like what you said though. Super cool. Let me pop this out so I can see you. All right, what the plan was today, I'm going to start off with the ghost in the news. And then we're going to go to America's first ghost hunter, and we're going to talk about him. I don't know, just popped up in my head about right before the stream. I was like, who is America's first ghost hunter? And then thought it was pretty cool. Heard of the name before because I've heard of the show on the Travel Channel, but I've never watched it. Which I think it's his daughter carries on his legacy. Nothing wrong with that, D Nice. That's super cool. Leslie, how's it going? Let's go over here. My article for the America's First Ghost Hunter, I will have to read off my phone because for some odd reason it wants to do that all black screen thing. They don't want me talking about them. I'm doing good. Had a productive Monday. Audrey, I hope your 2-year-old feels better. That sucks. Nerd Report saying Vegas next week. Yes, I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to the break from my 9 to 5. I am tired from my 9 to 5, but hey, gotta pay those bills. But am looking forward to Vegas. Next week, I plan on going live from the Strip. And I'm going to talk about the ghosts or the haunted history of some of the hotel. Well, practically everything on the Strip has some haunted history. So we'll see how that works out. See if I could, how I'm going to Google and stream at the same time on my phone. And asking, I think it's YouTube being pesky, and Mistress Meg's like working 9 to 5. Now I'm going to get that song stuck in my head. That's a great song, though. Bernadette go live at the... No. I'm not... No. YouTube might ban me if I go there. They'll be like, what is this? All the red lights will be going toward me. All the bots, even the humans, would be like, looking, what is this? Be driving to Vegas with Lewis. So I am totally looking forward to that. Jen's like, oh hell, let's go there. D Nice is like, I'm with Bernadette. Leslie's like, yeehaw. D Nice to see if thunder down. I'll be walking up. I'll be like, yes. Like, can we help you, miss? I'll be like, yes. Is this place haunted? They'll look at me like, what? Jin's like, let's go. No, the guy's gonna be like, no, that's the other Thunder Down Under. It's down the street. Just make a left. Matthew, how's it going? Happy Monday. And saying, oh my God, would love to be in the car with you and Lewis. Good times indeed. Cool. I like road trips. I love driving. I know sometimes you only see desert, but it's still cool. It's still cool to see different, even though it's like nothing but desert going to Nevada, but hey, it's still cool. Bernadette. You got this big burly security guard, you know, before the dressing rooms, and be looking at me, and I go, yeah, is it haunted in there? my EMF meter's going off. Oh my God, just imagine They'll look at me so crazy. Be calling the cops on me or something. We're like, yeah, we have a 5150 over here. Tirana, how's it going? Happy Monday. Or Sunday, or Tuesday early morning, depending on where you're at. Audrey, I know what you mean. I totally know what you mean. Some people, like, honestly. Matthew's going, Lewis, are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Actually, driving to Vegas isn't that bad. I've driven to Arizona, and that's, compared to that, like, Nevada is like nothing. It's about, what, a 4-hour drive from here to Las Vegas, and then Arizona, it's like 6, almost 7. And it's the same. You see desert, but it's still a cool drive. And even after you go after the border in Arizona, you hit the state line, and it's like another hour just to get to your destination. So you're like, I'm almost there, I'm almost there, I'm almost there. Nikki, how's it going? Alright, guys, we are going to... I've got Ghost in the news. Mistress Megs is asking, have I watched Holzer Files on Discovery? I think it is on Discovery now, but it was on Travel Channel. No, I haven't. I heard of it, but I haven't. And now I need to check it out after doing some Googling here. But we are going to go into Ghost in the News, where I actually Google Ghost in the News just to see what popped up. I wanted to do an article about New Orleans, but the article was like, you need to be a subscriber. And I was like, all right, never mind. It sounded interesting. But on my phone it would pop up, but not on my computer, if that makes any sense. Makes no sense whatsoever. Give me 1 second. Let me pull it up on my side. Okay, this is from The Mirror, which is like a UK tabloid newspaper or print, whatever it may be. And it's saying inside one of UK's most haunted spots, branded a magnet for supernatural activity. And this is written by Aaliyah Rugg and Georgia Dibellis, and it was posted April 9th, so not too long ago. And saying investigators Chris Cummings and Adam Billings traveled to the old Griffin Hotel in Liverpool's Dockland area in a bid to see if there really were ghostly activities. Lisa Boo, what is up? So this article starts off, paranormal investigators have explored inside one of the UK's most notoriously haunted buildings, and it's said to be a magnet for supernatural activity. Investigators Chris Cummings and Adam Billing traveled to the old Griffin Hotel in Liverpool's Dockland area in a bid to see if there really were ghostly activities. Despite many uses over time, the building, believed to be well over 150 years old, is filled with spooky activity, according to the ghost hunters. Speaking to the Liverpool Echo, Chris from Garston said it's not a functioning pub anymore, but the facade of the building has remained. We saw it was 150 years old and has had many uses in that time. The bar has all been ripped out, and there's no hint that you're walking into an old pub. Everything has been ripped out. The guys in there hope to open it as a new attraction, which will be great for the city, something completely different. They are doing fantastic work, but it has a rich history. So many people have stayed there, and so the minute we found out the age and its various uses, we had to go there. It's much bigger on the inside, and you get an eerie feeling as soon as you walk in. And these are the investigators. It's Chris Cummings and Adam Billing. We were told there's been deaths over the years there, and you can feel the positivity and negativity when you're inside. Chris said many people pass by without a second glance or thought about the rich history it holds. He added, at the minute, there's a mural for Everton Football Club from the outside. It gives no indication as to what it looks like on the inside. It's a fascinating place. I guess this is kind of what it looks like on the inside. Creepy looking. Although it's ripped out, a lot of the original ceiling is still there. There's a lot of belief that when you take a building back to its original foundation, you are rekindling old spirits, and that's true here. It's been stripped back to its bare walls and floor, and there would have been many people that resided there. Chris said as soon as they walked in, they heard a loud bang that appeared to come from an old heavy picture frame that was seen having moved. While in the cellar, Adam's walkie-talkie was lifted up by a spirit and dropped onto the table before being dropped onto the floor. But Chris said from the sound it had fallen, someone had lifted it up. He added, there are so many old buildings, old pubs in existence here in Liverpool that gets forgotten about even in the suburbs. They are left to rot. And I guess this is somewhat of what it looks like on the inside. Doesn't look too bad. Leslie's asking, are we the Omega Wolf Packs? Yes, you guys are. Melissa, how's it going? Leslie saying ghosts are just lost. And welcome to the Wolf Pack. Hearts for Anne. And guys, don't forget to hit that like button if you haven't done so already. Heather, whatever. I mean, it doesn't look too bad. It looks, I mean, maybe that's the better looking part of it. I skipped too far. Alright. So much is being modernized now, people don't look up and appreciate the buildings we have. You've only got to go to Wales to see they keep old buildings alive, but here in Liverpool, there's so much architecture. So much work went into our old buildings hundreds of years ago, and we seem to have forgotten that now. We need to keep our historical places alive. I mean, it still doesn't look that bad, even this picture. Chris met primary school teacher Adam 2 years ago, and during the P, they decided to set up their own Haunted Scouse YouTube channel exploring Liverpool's spookiest places. While it began as a hobby, Chris and Adam wanted to share Liverpool's important history, and it has grown from strength to strength. In the episode in one of Liverpool's oldest remaining buildings, Chris spoke about how when the building first opened, there were stables at the rear, but little is known about the building's early days. It still doesn't look like bad, considering they said the building was stripped. Speaking to the camera, Chris said, "This has been a hotel. It's been a home. It's been a number of other things, but what we do know, it's supposed to be one of the most notoriously haunted buildings in the whole of Liverpool. The night appeared to be filled with paranormal activity as detection equipment flashed when spirits made themselves known. While in the cellar, a spike suggested a spirit was trying to communicate with them until Chris jumped at some surprised activity." Hold on, there's a bunch of ads. Or is that it? Is that it? That's it. It ends there? That's like a weird ending. Short but sweet. And go back to me. That's how it... I didn't like how that one ended. I didn't like how they wrote that. Bernadette saying the UK, I think, is very haunted for sure. Leslie saying Henry VIII killed two. I think he killed... I know he did one. No, oh yeah, one for sure. I think one was sick. Two. One of them was childbirth. If I'm not mistaken. Can't remember with Henry VIII. D Nice is like, that doesn't add up. Ha ha ha. Melissa's saying the older the places are, the more ghosts they must have. And saying agree. No news. Hard stop. Spring Storm saying, have you ever researched Bobby Mackey's? No, I've heard of it. Bernadette saying his first wife sick, second wife, because it was Catherine of Aragon, and I think she got really sick, but he kind of just abandoned her because he was like all about Anne Boleyn. Anne Boleyn, he did the off with the head thing. The third wife, I don't remember her name, gave him an heir, but I think she passed away. And then the fourth one, I don't remember what happened. The fourth one, yeah. I think the fourth one is the one that maybe too off with the head. Bernadette saying yes. Nerd Report saying I see a ghost behind Lisa. Yes, there is one. Melissa Smith is saying sick or poison. Good question. It's because he didn't want to be with her anymore, which is kind of... Leslie's like, nope, it's two. Well, it was a big thing because I don't think any of them... The first two didn't give him a son, if I'm not mistaken. They both had daughters. The third one had a son. The fourth one, I don't know what. Leslie's like, the ghost is there. Yes, there is a ghost behind me if you guys look close enough. Bernadette saying, did you put yellow eyes on your alien? No, actually, they're googly eyes for my, hold on. Here, see. It kind of looks like it. I gotta move the alien down. But I don't think I can. I think he's as down as he could go. Kimberly saying one of the wives passed away. Melissa, that's how the Episcopalian church started, so he could, I believe so. Am I the only one here? Springstorm is saying, oh, that's my phone. It's got a notification that's like a music box. Jen saying the Real Wives of Henry VIII show. But I didn't like that article. They did not think of that. They didn't have a conclusion to it. It just like ended. But what do you guys think of that hotel or pub in Liverpool? I would light the ghost lights up, but the problem is you won't be able to see that it's a ghost. For some odd reason, it doesn't come out on the camera. Bernadette saying he did marry his older brother's wife after he passed away and didn't love her. Yes! The first wife, correct? Don't ask me how I know so much about King Henry VIII. I just do. And saying it gave you nothing burger. Yeah, it was like, check out this pub in Liverpool that's known. And then it just ended. Kimberly is, what is the musical based on Henry VIII's wives called? I do not know. Henry, whatever, saying the first wife ghost club. And saying still love your show. Thank you. Delea Lugo, what is up? Happy Monday. Let me look up the article for the next one. Because for some odd reason, it wants to do this just so I could show you guys. Not that it matters, but it wants to show it on all black and you guys can't see it. So I am going to read this one from my phone. So I'm going to look for it real quick. So give me a second. Melissa Smith, is it No, guys, talk, please. Bernadette saying that necklace I showed you with that spirit is Anne Boleyn's necklace, but my name is with a B, so yeah. Melissa saying I believe Liverpool has lots of ghosts for sure. Let me see if I can find this article. The lineup. There it is. I found it. Alright. We are going to talk about America's first ghost hunter. And it just popped up in my head about an hour before I went on, and I was like, who is the first ghost hunter? Because, I mean, we know, like, the modern day ghost hunters that are on TV, like, Ghost Adventures with Zach, Jay, Aaron, and Billy. And then we also know ghost hunters with Jay, Steve, Dustin, and a few other people. And we know Destination Fear, but formerly known as Destination Fear, going as Project Fear. But I always wanted to know, like, who was the very first. Bernadette saying, do you think ghosts can age or do they stay the same? I think you stay the same. You're gonna look the same no matter what. Leslie saying, Ghoster just lost. Do the Viper Room sometime. I did, but I didn't do, I talked a little bit about it, but I didn't do a whole show about it. So this article is from the lineup, and it's written by Orrin Gray. It came out October 15th in 2019. And it's saying Hans Holzer, America's first ghost hunter. And then the tagline is Hans Holzer was his name, contacting the dead was his game. He was born in Vienna, Austria. He married a countess. He investigated the Amityville horror house and wrote more than 140 books about ghosts and the occult world. His name was Hans Holzer, and he was one of the America's first ghost hunters. In fact, if you ask him, he may have even invented the term. Yet, for all that, Hans Holzer was never scared of ghosts, at least not to hear him tell it. Appearing on a 1977 episode of In Search of, hosted by Leonard Nimoy, I remember those, a show on which Holzer himself served as a consultant, he said, in all my years of ghost hunting, I've never been afraid. After all, a ghost is only a fellow human being in trouble. Oh, I kind of like how he said that. As comfortable as Holzer may have been around the dearly departed, he had plenty to say about them. His interest in what he called the other side began with ghost and fairy stories told to him as a boy by his Uncle Henry. Born in 1920, Holzer studied archaeology and ancient history at the University of Vienna before his family emigrated from Austria to New York in 1938. Matthew Coburn saying there have been plenty about ghosts, but Ghost Hunters was the first to get big on their own TV show. I agree, because I still do. I shouldn't say I used to. I still watch Ghost Hunters to this day. But that's who I started with. I didn't really watch Ghost Adventures until like a couple years ago. Leslie's saying spirits get younger. My dad got younger in my dream. He lost 20 years in my dream. Matthew saying sci-fi used to show it in the 90s. I do remember that show with Leonard Nimoy. Melissa saying, I bet Hans got bullied a bunch at the time. Yeah, but then remember, I don't know if you guys remember when we went over about the history of the Ouija board. People were into that. They were really into those type of things. So I feel like he wouldn't have gotten bullied. Maybe now he would, but maybe back then not so much. Matthew saying, I watched Ghost Hunters and Destination Truth with Josh Gates. I have not seen Destination Truth. So then it continues. After arriving in the States, Holzer studied Japanese at Columbia University, dabbled in theater where he wrote reviews and even a musical called Hotel Excelsior, and claimed to have obtained a master's degree in comparative religion and a doctorate in parapsychology from the London College of Applied Science before finding his ultimate calling, hunting ghosts. He published the first of his many, many, many books on the subject in 1963. It was called Ghost Hunter, a phrase that some say Holzer claimed to have invented, though another famous paranormal researcher, Harry Price, had already used the term in the title of his own 1936 book, Confession of a Ghost Hunter. Whatever the case may be, Holzer followed up ghost hunting with a dizzying array of more than 100 other books on the subject. Most were about ghosts and ghostly phenomenon, sporting titles like Famous Ghosts, Ghosts That Aren't Haunted Places, Poltergeist, and Stay Behinds, a term that Holzer may indeed have coined to describe individuals who didn't pass on when they passed away and were confused as to their real status. Delia Luga saying, I'm into the Ryan Bell paranormal investigations. I've heard of him, but I've never seen. D-Nice neither. Not Nicolas Cage, because he's like my birthday twin. Nicolas Cage is like an I don't know, like an awkward vampire for me, at least. I don't know. That's just my opinion. But Hans Holzer's interests lay in far more than just ghosts, and his books reflect the diversity of his worldview. Nestled among titles like Yankee Ghost and The House is Haunted are books on witchcraft, reincarnation, astrology, ESP, extraterrestrial life, the death of Kurt Cobain, and many more topics. Yet Holzer was no credulous dupe. According to him, there were only three dirty words: belief, disbelief, and supernatural. To Holzer, the word supernatural implied something that was outside the realm of science, while his studies of the paranormal were, in his estimation, extremely scientific. Belief, on the other hand, is the uncritical acceptance of something you can't prove. I work on evidence. So while Holzer may have believed wholeheartedly in ghosts, aliens, and all manner of occult forces, he wouldn't have phrased it as a matter of believing. Rather, he would have put it that he knew these things to exist because he had studied and experienced them empirically. Oh, he was? It says similarly, though he was a Wiccan high priest, Holzer rejected most organized religion as corporations that made their money by scaring the hell out of their congregants. For Holzer, ghost, witchcraft, and psychic phenomenon weren't scary. They were things to be understood, like anything else in the world. I like this guy. And I need to check them out now. I've heard of it the Holzer files, but it's raining there, Leslie? No way. Crazy. But now I need to check it out. Holzer's most famous case was his study of the Amityville Horror House, located on Ocean Avenue in Amityville, New York. In 1974, 23-year-old Ronald DeFeo Jr. killed 6 members of his family in the large Dutch colonial house. In 1975, a new family moved into the home, staying only 28 days before claiming that they had been driven out by ghostly phenomenon. Their accounts became the basis of a 1977 book by Jay Anson, The Amityville Horror, which claimed to tell a true story, more hideously frightening than The Exorcist, because it actually happened. That same year, Holzer investigated the house with the help of a medium named Ethel Johnson Myers. While there, Holzer, a proponent of spirit photography, took pictures of bullet holes from the 1974 murder that seemed to display mysterious halos. Ooh, that's kind of interesting. Johnson Myers claimed that she channeled the spirit of a Native American chief of the Shinnecock tribe named Rolling Thunder, who told her that the house was built on a sacred Native American burial ground. This account was disputed by the Amityville Historical Society, who pointed out that, among other inconsistencies, it would have been the Montauk people, not the Shinnecock, who were the original inhabitants of the land. Nevertheless, Hans Holzer wrote several books about the Amityville case. His first, the 1979 nonfiction book, Murder in Amityville, became the basis of the first film sequel to Amityville Horror, Amityville 2: The Possession. He later wrote 2 novels on the subject, 1981's The Amityville Curse and The Secret of Amityville in 1985. The former was adapted into the 5th installment in the Amityville horror film series, cementing Holzer's place in the mythology of one of America's most famous haunted houses. Melissa, you drove by the Amityville Horror House? That's so cool. Leslie's saying rainy and cold again. It was kind of gloomy today. Leslie's asking, am I going to be in Vegas next week? Yes, it's next week and I cannot wait. I am looking forward to it. Matthew saying place was never haunted. Melissa's saying it never rains in Colorado. No way. Hans Holzer, who spent his life among the dead, finally found out firsthand what was on the other side when he passed away in April of 2009. He was survived by 2 daughters, including Alexandria Holzer, whose 2008 book, Growing Up Haunted, about her childhood in the shadow of her father's lifelong obsession, has been opinioned for a potential feature film. Hans Holzer was no stranger to the scream during his life. Screen during his lifetime. He appeared on The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson, Regis Philbin, and a guest in documentaries on subjects ranging from ghosts and the Amityville Horror House to a non-fiction tie-in to the movie Independence Day. He even served as a technical advisor on the 1971 film Night of Dark Shadows, a follow-up to the popular 1960s gothic soap opera Dark Shadows. It only seems fitting that 10 years after his own death, Holzer is back among us. The Travel Channel has recently announced a new show made with the cooperation of Holzer's daughter, Alexandria, called The Holzer's Files. In it, a team of modern-day paranormal investigators, ghost hunters, in Holzer's own image will use newly discovered documents and files from Holzer's cache of private papers to revisit some of his most chilling cases. Tyrannus saying, have fun in Vegas. I definitely will. Melissa's saying, my brother lives close to Amityville. I don't know who lives there now, but it seems to be okay. Bernadette saying... Matthew saying, watch out when you are there looking for the Amityville world places because people there don't like it when people do. Some try to start crap with you, so be careful going. Well, yeah, that's their house. And so I don't blame them, because if that was my house, I'd be mad too. But then you kind of, you should know that when purchasing the house, that's going to happen. So you kind of have to just accept it. So in a way, like, I get their side, but at the same time, they knew what they were getting into when they bought the property. Melissa, we actually got a ton of rain this year. It was crazy. Thanks, Jen. For sure, Leslie. I will be streaming in Vegas. Matthew saying not just the house, the whole neighborhood. Well, yeah. True. But then they should know too. You know what I mean? They should know that's going to happen. I know it's probably, it sucks probably because you just want your privacy, and then all these people are like googling an eye at your house or in your city. They're like, oh my god, what house is that? So yeah, that would annoy me. But at the same time, you kind of have to accept it too. So Bernadette's asking, is the Exorcist house still around? I do not know. And saying, do you think you'll be able to hike soon? Yes, the weather's getting better, so I should be able to hike soon. I just been going to ones that I showed you already because I missed them. But I will be going to one soon, for sure. Then it continues. Investigator Dave Schrader will lead a team that includes a psychic medium, not unlike the ones Holzer himself to work with. In this case, Cindy Kaza, equipment technician Shane Pittman, and researcher Gabe Roth. The show is slated for 10-hour-long episodes, each one revisiting one of Holzer's original cases and bringing to light letters, photographs, and audio recorders from Holzer's investigations that have never been before seen by the public. The show premiered October 3rd on the Travel Channel with the deep dive into the paranormal, things that go bump in the night, and the other side. We're guessing even Holzer, wherever he might be now, is excited to tune in. That is kind of cool. And that's the end of it. It was kind of a short article. Anne's like, so excited when you can. I'm definitely looking forward to getting back on the trails. Melissa's asking, do you guys think the popularity of haunted houses make the property values go up or down? For people like us, it would go up, but I don't know about regular people. No, actually, I think they give the house away almost. Like, they go for dirt cheap because people don't want to live in them. Depends, I guess. But what I've seen, like, people put so much money in the house, but they just want to sell it because they can't do any, they don't want to live in the house. So then it goes for cheap. Julius is saying, I think the price of a haunted house would go down. Yeah, definitely. Because I don't think, because the people that own that house, a lot of them, if it's like super haunted, they just leave. They don't want to go back into the house. So D Nice is saying the Charm Show House is in downtown LA. The owners keep it as it and holds tours. That's cool. Ozzy Bush and Beach is saying we're coming out of our hot weather here. Just had great summer making my ways. Making my walking videos, coming into winter now and getting ready for windy and rainy walks. Yeah, we're the opposite of you, Ozzy Bush and Beach. We're actually going into summer. Bernadette is asking them why buy it. It's so stupid. I live there. You know why? It's because they don't know about the hauntings. Because in some, I think, what did it say? Only like 2 states actually have to disclose that the house is actually haunted. So a lot of people don't even know these things are happening in the house when they buy it. Nerd Report saying the Amityville horror home sells for $1.46 million. Yeah, but that house is huge. Plus, it has a lake behind it. And then it also has access to the lake. I think it's a lake. I'm not sure if it's a lake. So definitely that house is going to be worth some money. It's like the Los Feliz murder house. Same thing. It's like a it's a house that was built in like the 1920s, and I think it sold for almost probably as much as the Amityville horror house or more. And it's gutted. Those houses are different. I'm talking about like just a normal house, not a mansion. I'm talking about like a normal neighborhood, like middle class suburban neighborhood where, normal house where the person, and if you ever seen those shows where they talk about people and they're like, they bought the house because it was really cheap. So it's always like where they buy the house where it's super cheap, but they don't know why it's super cheap, but it's a beautiful house. It's the perfect house. So they buy it and then they find out it's haunted. So I'm talking about just like a regular like single story house or 2-story house, not a mansion. Plus, there's the entity house looks like a normal house, so that I would assume probably didn't sell for too much. I still love the windows at the Amityville house. Bernadette's like, can you imagine how much money you'd have to put in that home to fix it? It probably costs more to fix it than what you pay for the house. And it's a lot to begin with. Heather Whatever saying, I think in the first 3 years, real estate has to disclose in California if a bad event happened there. I think, what did it say? Like Jersey and New York or something? One of those states. It said, but I don't know about California, but it said that they have to disclose if a house is haunted. Matthew saying Arnie's house from the film John Carpenter's Christine in South Pasadena is for sale. Price is $2.895 million. Wow, that's a lot. Brandon's like, why do I find these ghost topics so relaxing? Pasadena is a cool area, but it's super expensive. Jules is saying it's Jersey. Thank you. I knew it was one of those. I just couldn't remember. I remember reading it. They filmed Halloween in Pasadena. It just like it's when you drive in Pasadena, it's like you're in a different area. It's not like you're in California anymore. It's very nice. Chantilly, what is up? I mean, would any of you... I know Bernadette would buy a haunted house, but would any of you buy a haunted house if you knew it was haunted? I mean, for me, it would depend on what type of haunting it was. If it was just things moving, then I'd be like... I'd be cool. But if it was things moving, knives being thrown... things attacking you type thing. No, I don't want that. Heather Whatever saying, I guess not necessarily haunted, but there's a house in Coronado where a little boy passed away and his dad's girlfriend passed away under suspicious circumstances. I wouldn't live there. Jules is like, probably. D Nice is saying the Halloween houses are right next to each other, most across from each other. I've been to those. I've been past Laurie Strode's house. I've been to the house where she had the pumpkin and actually took a picture with the pumpkin in front of it. I've been to the hedge where Michael peers over. And then you see John Carpenter's smoke because he smoked cigarettes, so you see the smoke in the scene. And then I've been to the Nightmare on Elm Street house with the red door. That house seems bigger in the movie than up close, at least to me. Spring Storm's like, nope, one was enough for me. Matthew saying a lot of houses you have to disclose if a crime was committed there. Bernadette's like, I wonder how it is to live in Virginia City, Nevada, the most haunted city in America. I want to go there so bad. So do I. That place looks so cool. What is that? It's not the Washoe Club is there. Matthew saying last year for Halloween they allowed people to go into the Myers house and take pictures. I've been to that house too. On the outside, took a picture. Chantilly's like the Elm Street house. Well, I just went on the outside. Melissa's saying, are ghosts almost always in a violent way? No, not necessarily. I guess there was an article I was reading with you guys. They said there was a critical haunting, a residual haunting, and an intelligent haunting. And they said the critical haunting is for someone that had like a violent passing or something like that. Which I didn't know. I knew about the residual and the intelligent. Daisy! Did not get a notification. What? YouTube is pesky. Bernadette saying, yep, another hotels. I think the Gold Mine Hotel and an Airbnb. So many there. The whole city's haunted. Virginia City. Thank you, Anne. There's also the Clown Motel in Nevada too, as well. I've always wanted to go there. That has like a creepy cemetery next to it. Chantilly saying my dad lived on an Elm Street when I was very little. Thankfully, I wasn't aware of the movies yet. Oh my gosh, that's actually so cool. They'll be like, so what street do you live on? And you're like, Elm Street, and be like. Then they'll be like, that one street? Yes, that one street. No, that one street. And you're like, yes, that one street. Brandon saying, if I was a ghost, I would try to be a prankster. That's what I would do. Bernadette, you don't like clowns? What? What's wrong with clowns? Matthew, I definitely want to check out the Clown Motel one of these days. Years. Millenniums. Panda Bear, how was it? I've been to the Clown Motel in Nevada to pick up my sister. Daisy's like, one day when you come again to Vegas, not next week, we'll have to sew a road trip to Virginia City, Nevada. Definitely, Daisy. Jules, is it super, what is it? What's the word I'm thinking? Humid there? I remember when I went, it was super humid, but that was in the summer. Melissa hates clowns. What's wrong with clowns? Melissa's like John Wayne Gacy. That's what's wrong with clowns. I'm not talking about that clown. Bernadette, how were you traumatized by a clown? Out of curiosity, if you don't mind sharing. Springstorm's like, oh no, I don't do clowns either or dolls. Those are like my two well, clowns. I like clowns, but they're not like my super favorite things. But creepy dolls are. Oh, that's terrible, Jules. D Nice, did he tell you because of the elevation change? You and I care. How's it going? I still want the clown, but I don't think they sell it. But the clown from Poltergeist, I want that clown. I think Zach Bagans actually has that clown. And he has the one that they used in the movie. Chantilly's like, no clowns for me, but I'm good with the spooky ducks. No problem. Melissa saying Lisa is braver than any of us. Yeah, if I saw a creepy doll, I was like, oh my god, what is that? I'd have a big old smile on my face when most people should be terrified. Oh, hold on, guys. I did start a Discord. If you guys want to join, let me see if I could get the link here. Because for some odd reason... Let me see if I can paste it. No, that's not it. Bernadette saying, I think it was 1989. My idiot brother was babysitting me. He rented some movies and said it was a fun movie. It was Killer Clowns from Outer Space. I already hated circus clowns, and after... D Nice, can you post the link for my Discord? It's in my link tree. I added it there, but because for some odd reason... If I'm on my phone, I can do it, but on my computer, I can't. For all y'all that want to join. Oh, that sucks, Chantilly. Bernadette continues, the movie was over my dumbass bro dressed up as a clown and dangled over me a while I was asleep with it. What? Plus, I couldn't eat popcorn or cotton candy for years. That sucks. Daisy saying, I don't get scared easily by creepy dolls or clowns. Now, when I was little, it was a whole nother story, but now I just don't mind. Guys, if you want to join my Discord, it's in my link tree that D Nice has so graciously posted. Doof Doof Paranormal, what is up? Hello, lunchtime Tuesday here in Australia. Enjoy your lunch. If you want to join my Discord, click on my link tree, and it's the very first link. And it's new, so there's not much to it yet, but I'll add more. Okay, D Nice is there. I see Luna Sailor Moon is there. I heard a cha-ching. Heather, thank you for the donation. It said, I think before I clicked off, it said for coffee. Thank you. You're awesome. Thank you, Heather, whatever. Hearts for Heather, whatever. Bernadette, there's nothing wrong with pineapple pizza. Rochelle, how's it going? I've got 5 members in my Discord, so if you guys want to join my Discord, click on my link tree. And it's the very first link. Jules, there's nothing wrong with pineapple on pizza. That's like the one thing I have to have on my pizza. Oh, Bernadette likes pineapple. Okay, cool. I like how we're talking about pizza. Panda Bear is saying there's nothing wrong with that. You and I Care's asking, do you remember Bosco the chocolate syrup? I loved it, but I don't remember if they had a clown on their commercials. No, I don't remember that one. Doof Paranormal, welcome to my Discord. I see you there. Panda Bear, I see you there too. Melissa, I see you there. Awesome. Hey, Bernadette, nothing wrong with being weird. Just Jules is like, no pineapple. So if I go off air, you guys can continue the conversation in Discord if you guys haven't joined. There's 8 members, guys. Thank you. Hold on. Oh, you know what? I could just read it from my thing. Okay, Brandon actually shared an article about the 11 of the scariest ghost stories from Reddit. It's from the Travel Channel. Written August 5th, 2021, and it's by Beth Braden. Oh, you know what? I think I read. Did I read this one? Okay, so it starts off. It wasn't a little girl. I was camping with my husband and his family at a small remote lake in New Mexico. There were about 10 people in our group and another group of 6 people in the next campsite. It was nighttime and both groups were doing typical activities, making s'mores, having a few drinks and telling stories when we all heard what sounded like a little girl yelling out for help. Neither group had children with them, but we were all positive we were hearing a little girl and decided to search the area we heard the noises from together. There was a field behind our campsites, and we all saw a very tall, pure white figure standing maybe 100 feet away from us in the field, making the noises. We all agreed this thing looked maybe 6 feet tall, skinny, and white as can be. We made our way closer to investigate, but whatever it was that we saw started backing off as we got closer, and it disappeared into the trees. All night, we continued to hear a little girl calling for help as we tried to sleep. ... Sorry for all the chimes. That's everybody in Discord. Okay, the next story is The Walking Dead. I'm a psychiatrist nurse, and early in my career, I worked at a residential mental health facility. One of our residents was an elective mute, which means that he couldn't talk. But there were no medical reasons as to why. He had spoken earlier in his life and in fact seemed quite normal back then, with the exception of being close to 7 feet tall. He'd been raised in the deep south and joined the military when he was 19, but one night he vanished. He was declared AWOL, and eventually he was declared missing and dead. 10 years later, a 7-foot-tall man walked into a VA hospital emergency room in my part of the Midwest and said to the receptionist, "My name is Marion Dushian, not the real name, and I've been dead for 10 years. Those were the last words he ever spoke. He was covered with dust, and he was wearing the same clothes he'd been reported to be wearing the night he vanished. His social security number had not been used, and he had no identification on his person. However, they were able to identify him, I guess via fingerprints. The family was notified, but they said they had already grieved their lost man and that whomever was claiming to be him simply could not be. They demanded not to be contacted again. Marion paced all day, every day, moving his mouth that looked like talking or muttering, but no sound came out. He had an unnerving habit of throwing his head back with his mouth wide open as if he were laughing heartily. But not even a breath could be heard. If I talked to him, he appeared to listen periodically, throwing his head back in that laughter mimicking way of his. Various medications were tried, but they did not affect him either positively or negatively. Occupational therapy did nothing because Marion would just grin, and unless told to stay put, he'd get up and start pacing again. On my last day at that job, the last thing I saw was Marion pacing in the parking lot, throwing his head back to laugh. Later, I wondered if all along I've been dealing with a ghost. All these years later, I still don't know. It was a story. I stopped actually watching the Walking Dead, I think it was about when Negan came in. And then that was when I stopped watching. These are a link that Brandon shared, and it's the 11 of the scariest ghost stories, and I've read 2 of them already. And it's from the travelchannel.com. And that story was called The Walking Dead. So the person doesn't know if she was actually seeing a ghost. The next story is The Unrest Stop. I was driving across country with my mom and sister when I was 16 and my sister was 20. It was late, but we were well rested still and alert. We were driving along an interstate and needed gas and a bathroom break, so we stopped at the only rest stop in 200 miles. There was a van full of teenagers on a road trip at the gas station, as well as a small gray car parked at the pump in front of us with 2 young men standing still outside of it. When we got there, everything felt wrong. We'd been on the road for days and seen many rest stops at night, and had never been afraid until then. My mom and sister went inside and I stayed in the car. I heard the teenagers say they were creeped out and couldn't get the pump to work, and they left in a hurry. I was watching the car in front of us, and the 2 men had not moved at all. Not an inch. They weren't talking. They weren't on phones. They were just standing there, still as stone. My sister and mom came running back out to the car, and when they got in, the 2 men slowly turned to look at us, while not moving or pivoting the rest of their bodies. And I swear we all saw the same thing. They had eyes dark as pitch and empty, truly empty, not black, not reflecting any light at all, just a void. We sped out of there and didn't stop until we were in the next city. The worst thing about the entire experience, we couldn't find the place on any map. We knew exactly which stop on the interstate to look, and we couldn't find it on Google Maps or any paper map we had. We even asked locals about the creepy gas station out on the stretch of road and got only confused looks. We've traveled on that interstate since, and there is no rest stop. Chantilly, I see you. Spring Storm is saying I've joined on Discord. If you did join on Discord, just say hi so I know you're in there. Melissa saying rest stops are creepy. Nikki saying there's a lot of stuff on the travel channel. Brandon saying, yeah, rest stops in the night out in the boonies are creepy. I usually don't stop at rest stops. I'm getting... Spring Storm, what's up? I see you in Discord. Jack O'Neill, I see you in Discord. I'm not sure who you are on YouTube. Rochelle saying, I definitely agree. Rest area and their vendor coffee, not good. Got you. Matthew saying, Jack is I. Thank you for joining my Discord. Okay, the next story, since my article about the very first ghost hunter was super short, and the ghost news was short, the next story is called It Came for Us in the Graveyard. Actually, I like that rest stop story. What did you guys think about that rest stop story? That's a tongue twister. Okay, the next one. It came for us in the graveyard. We were driving my friend's really old beat-up Subaru through a massive graveyard. We stopped and walked down a hill and came across a little pond. There was someone sitting on a rock on the other side of the pond. The figure was all black and we couldn't make out any features other than the fact it looked like a man who was wearing some old-style top hat. We stupidly waved and shouted, "Hi!" He didn't show any acknowledgement and continued sitting still on the rock. All of a sudden, he jumped to his feet, started running to us on the water, and then vanished in thin water about halfway on the pond. My friends and I screamed and ran back to the car. The car wouldn't start, and we heard something banging on the back of the car. It wasn't a constant bang, but every few seconds or so we'd hear it. Nobody was outside from what we could see in the dark, but something was making a noise on the car. I opened my phone and started dialing my mom to come give us a boost, but I had no service. None of us had any cell service. The next 30 minutes were spent trying to get her car started. No banging was heard afterwards, but we felt this heavy pressure around us. Finally, the car started and she hit the pedal to the metal. We sped out of the graveyard so fast, immediately crossing the gates. All of our phones regained cell service. One thing I know for certain is that someone or something was out there, and it was not an animal or human. Thanks, Jules. Rochelle saying liking these stories and rest areas are definitely eerie. Bernadette saying, who's that above the alien? Well, I've got googly eyes. It's just googly eyes. Oops. And then Jason. Because Jason's my favorite slasher. Melissa Smith is, I would like to know more about ghost hunting experience. I was going to do that, but I'm going to see if I can find a really good article about ghost hunting equipment. And I will do that on one of my shows. Because I was actually thinking about doing that today. D-Nice is like, I'm so happy the cemeteries my family are in have nameplates and not those tall headstones. My mind plays tricks on me if at those cemeteries with the tall headstones. I like those cemeteries with the huge headstones. Bernadette saying they are expensive. Yes. Susan saying graveyards are definitely full of spirits. Just tune in. Melissa saying they never really talk about the equipment. We just take it for granted that beeping means a ghost. Sometimes they do explain it, but they don't go in like major depth about it. So I will definitely see if there is an article talking about the different equipment. Alright, the next scary story is called It Was Good to See an Old Friend. When I was 37, I went to my high school reunion. I flew into the nearest airport and rented a car. The distance was about 35 miles through a very rural and almost abandoned part of the country. About 3 miles outside of town, I see someone on the side of the road flagging me down. It turned out that it was one of the guys I had attended high school with. Jim, not his name, gets in the car and we start talking. I had not seen him in 20 years, but he still looked the same. Maybe a little older. We get to town and I ask him if he wants to come to the VFW and have a drink. He says, no, just take me home. Jim's parents had lived only a few blocks from my grandmother's house, and I turned in that direction, but he said to take him to the outskirts of town. There was a mobile home park out there, and I figured that is where he lived. When we reached the end of the turnoff, he said, just drop me off here. It was good to see you again, and he walks off into the night. I go to the VFW, I said it all backwards, met some of my old classmates. We start to talk. As we were talking about who is coming to the reunion, I mentioned that I had just picked up Jim up 3 miles east of town and had dropped him off. Everyone gets quiet. Even the guy singing karaoke stops and lays down the mic. My cousin goes white as a new t-shirt. Barb, Jim died on that curve 8 years ago. Rolled his car. We were all at his funeral, I was told. I started to feel really dizzy, and I went out to the car to take some deep breaths. There, on the seat, is the local newspaper printed 8 years previously, containing Jim's obituary. I still have the paper. Whoa. That's crazy. Springstorm saying I downloaded a Spirit Box app. After what I heard, I deleted the app and saved the house. Never again. Oh, Sage the house. Daisy saying I live 5 minutes away from a cemetery with the tall headstones and my kid's elementary school is directly across the street. I used to go running at night through the cemetery. Oh, that's crazy. The next story. Hell hath no further like a woman's scorn. Melissa, thank you for the Cash App. Hold on, let me see so I can read your message. For being cool as F. Thank you, Melissa. You're awesome. Hearts for Melissa in the chat. Thank you. I've never used one of those spirit apps. I know my Alexa has it. And I go, Alexa, search for ghosts. Or I forgot what I told her. And she's like, there's no ghost presence here. And I'm like, yeah, I know. in my room. I don't have it in here. I should bring her in here and see what she finds out. She may start talking to herself or something. Teresa! Doof Doof Paranormal is saying you never put much faith in a spirit box app as they are pre-filled with responses, often silly ones like demon, evil, etc. BS. Seriously? That's what I was thinking with some... I just down for fun. That's what I did with the Alexa one. Bernadette, I'm saying Matthew because Matthew came up underneath her. Bernadette saying she has the Spirit Box, SLL app, Music Box app, Spirit Box app, and they all work for her. Cool. D Nice is saying your pets never look into a random corner. Sometimes. Cause you know how cause I have cats, or I have my cat now, my one, and they just go like this. And you're like, what are you looking at? And you look at them and then they look back down at you. And then my bird, she squawks if she hears me talking or if she hears the birds outside. She'll be like, she'll hear birds singing, so she'll start singing with them. Julius is saying my dog Wasabi does it all the time. Springstorm saying when I used the Spirit Box app, I said, okay, I'm listening, and the response was a deep audible, I am too. That would freak me out. That would. So the next story. Hell hath no furry like a woman scorned. After we moved into our home, we were told a woman had died there at the hands of her abusive husband. She hated men. My dad would wake up with scratches all over himself, and whenever my brother was mean to my sister or I, he would have scratches on him as well. One day, my brother hurt our sister. He hit her with something. When he woke up later that night, he had a horrible bloody nose. The day we moved out, my brother accidentally broke his twin's arm trying out a wrestling move. He swears that he would have died that night if it wasn't our last in the house. Okay, I didn't like how that one ended. Spring Storm, I would have done the same thing. Saying scared the crap out of me, I bought sage and blessed the house. Melissa saying my house was built in 2003, maybe 3 owners, so probably no ghost. This house was built in the 70s, I think. I think it was 1970, somewhere around there. I didn't like that story. That kind of just was like, it kind of cut you short. Okay, this one's saying death came for him. I was standing in my parents' room talking to my very sick dad at the time. He was dying of stage 4 esophageal cancer. I know I'm saying it wrong. I know what the word is, but it's not coming out right. I got the feeling something was behind me. I looked towards the doorway to the living room, and something about 4'6" and fully black is peeking around the corner, with its hands on the door frame. I ran toward it, and it slipped back around the door. When I got outside the doorway, there was nothing. My dad was completely confused when I stepped back inside the room when I tell him. People who stayed at my house in my dad's final days claimed to have seen it. My mom saw the figure on multiple occasions in multiple places until he passed away. We haven't seen it since. I don't know what possessed me to be... Oh, that's just something... a comment. Matthew's saying it doesn't have to be the house, could be the land or the object you buy. Exactly. Melissa saying, I like the vigilante ghost. I liked a good revenge story. It's a good story. I just didn't like how it ended. Because it kind of just cut short. Rochelle saying, while I don't own a house, the building is built from 1970s. Would never know it though. They kept it well. Cool. Daisy saying it was the Reaper. That's what I was thinking too. Alright, the next story is my mother attracted evil. After my parents divorced when I was a teenager, I lived with my mother. I experienced lots of paranormal happenings. Several times when I was reading in my bed, the room would start to feel really icy. Next, it would feel as if somebody that hated me was staring at me. When I got that feeling, I would leave the room and come back an hour later. Sometimes during the day, I would see a shadow figure sneaking along my bedroom walls. Something in the flat was pretending to be my dog. I went into my room and heard a deep growl from under the bed. My dog wasn't capable of making a noise that deep. It sounded like either a really big dog or a man doing his best dog impersonation. Other times, my dog would whimper and pace in the room next to mine but wouldn't come when called, as if he was afraid of something in the hallway. When I moved in with my father, the paranormal activity stopped. Rochelle, I think it was the Spirit Box app. Chantilly's saying, I'm still here. Please don't stop opening doors. I'll put the food away. I won't. Don't worry. Melissa's like, I hate the big shadow ghosts. That one kind of ended better than the last one. Susan saying cold spots are always spirits. Definitely. Panda Bear saying there's also an app called Spirit Talker. Okay, the next one, evicted by a ghost. Shortly after college, I got married. We immediately moved into a basement apartment because that's all that was available within our budget. This place had a poltergeist, and my wife was terrified. Whatever resided there with us made it clear it wanted to live alone. Dishes, glasses, and other items would fly off the shelf. My wife was hit several times. There was always an ominous feeling like we were being watched. At night, when we walked through the apartment in the dark, there would be insanely bright flashes of light that would illuminate the entire room. One night, while we were going to bed, as soon as my wife and I walked into the bedroom, we heard a voice from nowhere say, my name, or whoever the guy's name was. We'll say John. John, move. Oh no, we're not restarting. It was like, it's time to restart your computer. I was like, nope. My wife looked at me. I looked at her. I said loudly, "You've got it, bud." No, 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 no. Open settings to adjust your active. Hold on. It's going to try to restart my computer. No, 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 no. We don't want that happening. I guess there's an update and it wants to restart my computer. That is not happening. But I don't know where to go to fix that. That's weird. It never did that before. Find a setting. Updates. Right in the middle of a good story, too. Updates paused. Okay, I think we're good now. Watch, it still turns off. I'm going to be mad. All right, I think I got it. Okay, then he continues. We moved out 2 days later and stayed with family. The old lady who owned the place died a few months later, and the house was torn down. It is still an empty lot to this day, nothing but grass and a tree. I still drive by it every now and again. Okay, so I guess it was just poltergeist activity. D-Nice is like, it's the spirits. Yeah, they don't want me to tell ghost stories. Melissa's like, why do I think Lisa just lives in my laptop? I kind of do, in a way. Okay, the next story. The Death March. My dad used to work as a corrections officer at a rural prison. He drove the perimeter of the property for his entire shift, where he would check empty buildings for runaway inmates. It was generally a boring job. One night, my dad was parked on a hill reading a magazine when he started to feel a thumping in his body. He described it as the feeling you get when speakers are playing a song with really heavy bass. He put the magazine down and checked his rearview mirror when he saw someone outside the truck. He grabbed his pistol and jumped out of the truck with his weapon drawn. Outside the truck, he realized it was a procession of Native Americans walking through the truck and directly through his seat, only to disappear at the exact spot he was sitting. He said it was clear they were ghosts because many of them appeared injured. This went on for a few seconds, and then the whole procession disappeared. He called the other perimeter guy on his walkie to try to explain, and the other guy almost immediately stopped communicating. Turns out, the other guy had seen this happen before but didn't believe in ghosts, so he wouldn't talk about it. I don't know about that story. I guess... Oh, this one's the last story. The Demon's Room. I worked as a forensics nurse in a hospital's lockup unit. We had one older lady who swore she was being haunted and abused by a demon she would call Tiberius. So many crazy things happened while she was on the unit. We'd go into the room, do normal care, leave, and seconds later she'd start screaming bloody murder. We'd run into the room to find her looking like she'd been in a fight with a boxing champ. Bloody lip, black eye, markings all over her body. No one ever saw her doing this stuff to herself. Things would get moved around the room by themselves. At one point, she was in protective restraints because the doctor thought she was hurting herself. There was no way she could have moved or done anything to herself while in these restraints, but new marks would always appear on her tray cart, or her tray cart would be across the room. The room was secured, so there was no way someone else was doing this. When we asked her questions, she'd just say it was Tiberius. After she was discharged, we always had trouble with that room. If there was going to be a rapid response or code, it happened in that room. One night, a guard reported lights blinking on and off. It was that room. D Nice is like, I have a cousin who is a corrections officer at the Two Towers in downtown LA. He has had stories. That's crazy. Rochelle is checking out one of the spirit apps. I'm not sure which one. But that was the last story. Thanks to Brandon. That one is spooky. Oh, Rochelle is saying there's a guy in there? Ooh, creepy. Springstorm saying that's a spooky story. It's a spooky story, just I don't like how it ended. You know how like it ends with like a revelation? Some ghost stories do, like we found out the lady passed away 3 days before. You know how it ends like something like that? That one didn't do it. But it's a good story. Julius is saying that last story is very spooky. Rochelle's saying ghost voice box communicator. Elfig, how's it going? Daisy. That is super crazy. Guys, any last minute questions? I hate to end early, but I do have to get up early tomorrow for my 9 to 5. Or my working 9 to 5. I'm going to get that song stuck in my head now. That's the only words I know from that song, too. Rochelle saying the last story was spooky. I like those stories. Do you guys like those ghost stories? I like them. Susan Reich is saying hospitals are spooky too. Haunted. Definitely. Melissa Smith is like Dolly. Yes! Dolly Parton. Definitely Melissa. But that's all I know of the words. Working 9 to 5. Bernadette's like, I hear you, girl. Dun 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 dun. Rochelle is like, I need to Sage freaking me out with the app. This app. That's why I don't know if those apps are accurate or not. So I'd rather use the real equipment. And your senses. Bernadette. Chantilly's like, do we get a short Goodnight Sweet Dreams clip? I don't have one set up. Or I would, because I wasn't planning on playing any clips today. Next time, Chantilly, I will definitely have some clips. I just didn't have any set up today. Any last minute questions? Do you hand cat balls? Do I hand a cat balls? D-Nice, is that what you're trying to say? No. I've never... Have I ever had light up balls? They have those for ghost hunting. Chantilly, I have not decided on Thursday yet, but definitely Saturday, guys. You will see me on Saturday for sure. Susan saying any further clips on UFOs? I will look for some and share some for sure. D-Nice is like, get some for your cats. I should. They'll be pouncing them around. And then it'll turn on by itself. No, they'll love those because they like batting things around. Alright, guys, I will have to call it a night. Thank you for joining me with this ghost report where we talked about the first ever ghost hunter. It was short, told ghost stories, and spoke about a very short and cut off article about ghosts in the news. I will be back for sure Sunday at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Be there, be squared. Thank you for joining me, and I will see you guys on the next one. Good night, guys, and thank you for joining me.